Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah wa alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Welcome, guys. Today we're going to talk about, let's just talk about that, the old issue that is going on between Daniel Haqiqatjou and Brother Sajid, on the issue of, or between the Daniel Haqiqatjou and the whole Salafi stuff, like can you criticize the ruler, do you become the Khawarij, who are the Khawarij, and stuff like this, okay? And I want to just give you my own perspective on the whole issue and why you probably should not get involved in this. Don't get involved in this because many of it will come. It will come like this. I made a video some time ago, like last week or even not too far ago, showing you the two types of dawah. One type of dawah is the one every one of us can do. So you see Muhammad Hijab, Ali Dawa, Brother Shamsi, Brother Sajid, even like Daniel Haqiqatjou. You engage the atheists, you can engage the Christians, you engage all of this. Everyone can do that because it's just Islam versus those other ideologies. Now the second type is the intra-Islamic stuff. This is the one I was talking about, the intra-Islamic disagreements. You know, when you talk to the atheists and the Christians, you're on about truth. Now when it comes to intra-Islamic stuff, where is the truth in this discussion? This is when it becomes kind of difficult. And this also applies to Christianity, by the way, but this is not the video for that. So who is saying the truth between Daniel Haqiqatjou and Brother Sajid, or the Madkhalis? Who is saying the truth here? Okay, how do you know that? So you will find people on both camps. And funny enough, when you listen to one camp, they seem to be saying, you seem to be convinced by them. But the moment the other guy comes out and speaks, you seem to be convinced by his own argument as well. And this is a phenomenon that's always been there. Like even philosophers have pointed this out, that some people just gave up on the whole thing. Like if I listen to this side, they make sense. They know what they're talking about. Then I listen to the other side, refuting them. Then they know what they're talking about. I'm confused. Which one should I choose? Anyway, the point is, this is intra-Islamic stuff. This is when it becomes, you need to calm down. You need to take a step back as an observer in all of this. So let me just talk to you about just this one verse, and I'll show you how it can be interpreted in many ways and why your approach. This is why I disagree with some of the things in Akida. This is why I disagree with some of the positions I had in Salafi stuff, because I saw the depth of understanding, of interpretation that can possibly be valid also. So take this verse that they are all talking about. Atiullah wa atiur Rasul wa ulil amr minkum. This is where it all lies on. So now, we are commanded to obey Allah and His Messenger and the ulul amr amongst us. Okay, whether they are leaders or the government or the ones that have authority over you, we are supposed to obey them, right? Yeah. All of them will agree, yeah, we obey Allah and His Messenger and the ulul amr. Now the question is, what if the ulul amr, the authority, they say something that is not in line with Allah, what Allah and His Messenger said? So we will say, everybody will say, we will not follow them. All of them will say this. All of them that are arguing about this, they will say, yeah, we cannot follow them if they ask us to disobey Allah and His Messenger. Notice that all of them will agree. So where is the disagreement coming from? What would constitute that thing that they're commanding us? How bad does it have to be for you to call them out? That's where the problem is. How bad is that thing that they're telling you to do or not, or allowing? How bad does it have to be? Who is going to decide when they've crossed the line? This is where the disagreement is. So if they've not crossed the line, you're not allowed to criticize them. But if they have crossed the line, then you are allowed to disagree with them. Now they're arguing about, have they crossed the line or not? I think that's why it's like, okay, now Saudi, they allowed Halloween or whatever. I don't know about that. Is Halloween really that bad? According to the other camp, they are saying it's not really that bad for you to, it's not kufur, it's not something. That's what they are saying. While the other camp is seeing it as, this is bad, this is really bad, this is against Allah and His Messenger. So you can clearly see why both of them will have different opinion on this issue. Even the ones that are saying don't criticize the ruler, they will somehow know that this is really bad. It's just, is it that bad? So that's what they are disagreeing on. So I think you can see, like now, both of the camps, how do you resolve this issue? somehow you might not be able to resolve it, because this camp will never accept it. The other camp will say, it's not bad enough. When should he? Now the question is, if they do another thing and another thing, at what point does it become bad? At what point do you start criticizing them, or you will never criticize them? So if you say you will never criticize them, you're a bootlicker. According to the other camp, you're a bootlicker, because they will never, anything they do to you doesn't cross the line. While the other camp is saying it, they have crossed the line. And this one, they will charge them with being Khawarij. You are a Khawarij because, why are you deciding that? Remember, what did the Khawarij do, actually? I think the Khawarij, they were even classing the Sahabas as disbelievers because they did something. Because I think they did a treaty. They reconciled. So the Khawarij saw that as disobeying Allah and His Messenger. For them to reconcile on quote-unquote battle, they have disobeyed Allah and His Messenger, and they disassociated themselves from the Sahabas. So that's what the Khawarij are. So to them, you taking Halloween as a big deal or any other thing, or that is bad. Now, that is just on the interpretation. I show you why the interpretation can, when it starts becoming specific, you start to go in two different sides. Now, the other issue is that historically, this is where one of the reasons why maybe I'm not Salafi, quote unquote Salafi anymore, is historical stuff. When you look at the history of Islam, the people that you respect, what have they said on some of these issues? Are they consistent? Do you know, like, have they ever disobeyed the leader when they clearly disagree with the leader? And that's what Brother Daniel was showing in his video. Brother Daniel was showing that you have Sheikh Albani and Sheikh Ibn Baz and all these scholars, even Ibn Taymiyyah, even all this. Think about all the scholars that you know. They've always, at one point in their life, disagree with the ruler on issues that they think it is absolutely right, and the leader said no, and they will say, we will not agree with you on this issue, and they are ready to do whatever for it. So somehow those guys, they value their opinion. Those scholars in the past, they value their opinion to the level that they will not compromise on their opinion, even if it's against the leader. That's what Brother Daniel was showing, that okay, everybody recite that verse. So when you quote that verse, it doesn't solve the problem, because you're going to have to deal with the history of what actually happened. Did the Sahabas know this? Did they ever know that you cannot go against, criticize or oppose the leader? Did they know this? Did they know that verse? Of course they knew the verse. But why did they act against the leader in some situations? It's because it's deeper than that. There's more to it than just simplistic interpretation of verses to justify your own opinion. You might think I'm already choosing one side, but historically speaking, you're going to have to deal with all of that. You're going to have to deal with Ibn Taymiyyah, Sheikh Islam Ibn Taymiyyah, going against the leader, getting imprisoned, Imam Ahmad getting imprisoned, even I think Imam Malik, all of them somehow, even Imam Abu Hanifa, I think all of them at some point they were imprisoned by the leaders of their time, the authority of their time, because they didn't change their opinion. You see, they were in prison. So it shows that somehow there's going to be a point when it comes to where you have to say no to the leader at some point. Remember that video I made about this? I made a video where I was giving you an hypothetical of, in the year 3092, should you conform or become a rebel or disagree with the leader? In such situations where you're going to be the one that will decide at the end of the day. You're going to make that decision. So if you respect all the Sheikh Ibn Taymiyyah, Sheikh Albani, all of them like that, they have at some point they have criticized the leaders. When they say like, this is too much, this is unacceptable. Should the army join? You know, it was showing a video of Sheikh Albani talking about Saudi government and what's it called? And the army of other kafir countries. Should that be allowed? And probably the scholars of that time were like, yeah, it's okay. And he disagreed with them, and he criticized the government for that. So, is he a Khawarij? This is a good question. Historically, everything just changes. When you look at history, when you look at the verse alone, everything seems to be like, you cannot criticize the leader no matter what. And those hadiths, it seems to be like you cannot do this. But historically, it doesn't follow, because this is exactly the kind of verses those rulers that want to oppress you would need to control you. Any leader, this is the easiest verse for them to just use it to control you. But when you see like the way some Sahabas did, some big scholars that you respect, the way they have looked at their situation, you cannot just think the verse and think like it solves all the problem. So these arguments will never end, and at the end of the day, you're going to be the one to decide for yourself if you are even interested in this in the first place, which I don't think you should be interested in this. Okay, and you see both camps, both of them, especially when you go to the comment section, they are asking Allah to punish the other party. So one party saying, you guys are Khawarij, Allah will destroy you, punish you, Allah will judge you. And the other camp is saying, you guys are bootlickers, you're not calling out something that's clearly wrong, Allah will ask you for this, you're going to justify. And each party asking Allah to punish them. This is what I told you, like Aqidah stuff, all these things. Now, if you, whatever principle you take, this is what I was telling one of my friends, whatever principle you use in this situation to either follow one side, if you are the opinionated person, whatever principle you choose, if you choose one side, remember that principle that you're using. If you follow Daniel Haqiqatjou and all these people, the other camp are saying like, bro, you can criticize the leader sometimes, just like historically it happened, right? In Aqidah issue too, in all the other issues too, the same issue comes back. You're going to have to decide that, and when you look at history, everything changes once again. If you're looking at Aqidah with just verses from the Quran and that's all, look at the history and see the position some people, respected people in Islam, are taking, and then everything will start changing. You start seeing things differently. So I just wanted to point this out. This just perfectly fits those two videos I've made. The video about the two types of dawah, where I showed you where when you're talking to the people like outside our religion, it seems to be okay, everyone can do that. But the moment you talk about intra-Islamic stuff, to find the absolute objective truth is going to be much more difficult. You're going to do a lot of more work. And the other video I gave you a scenario of when you're under a heretical or tyrannical ruler, what should be your approach in that situation? Should you conform, or should you use your reason and stand for the truth that reason gives you? What should you do then? So I hope you guys let me see what you guys think about this whole issue. Please, if you are part of the people that watch my channel, I always tell you guys, let's not get involved in this. It's not going to benefit us. Like, what I mean get involved is start insulting people from either side, or start making a big fuss over all these issues. Just focus on your own ibadah and your own life. Don't get involved in this. That's what I mean. I don't mean like don't think about it. You can think about it and make up your own mind about these issues. But remember, the historical part is very important. History is very important. Okay. Anyway, let me see what you think in the comment section. See you guys later. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.